Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys 15 things you need to know about the Vapid Peyote gasser before you end up buying this car in Grand Theft Auto Online. And it's actually our final vehicle that we're going to be covering from the Southern San Andreas Super Auto site, and it's actually pretty expensive. It's $805,000. It's a two-door muscle car. And you might be wondering why Rockstar chooses to make the Peyote gasser $805,000, while the original Peyote only cost $38,000 and can oftentimes be found in free roam for nothing. Well, Rockstar explains that this is the cost of historical accuracy. So the description for the Peyote gasser is back in the 50s, drag racing was a more straightforward affair. You took a beautiful post-war convertible, gave it a serious engine upgrade and a nosebleed stance, and took it onto the streets. Sure, the weight transfer didn't count for much when the front end picked up more air resistance than an open parachute, and the survival rate over 150 miles per hour was pretty low, but that's the price you pay for historical accuracy. So I'm guessing that's the reason why this version of the Peyote is over $750,000 more expensive than its original predecessor. Now, let's talk about what this vehicle is based off of in real life. As you guys heard there, this vehicle closely resembles sort of a 1955 and 1956 Ford Thunderbird. And it also takes some design elements from the Cadillac Coupe de Ville from the 1960s. So that's sort of the car we're getting here, but it's more of a dragster version, as you guys can clearly see. So let's take this vehicle into the Los Santos custom shop, and like I said, this is a wild car. And right off the bat, you've got 18 different customization options that you can do, and we begin with the exhaust. And there's actually 12 if you include the stock exhaust options that you can choose from. And all of them, for the most part, are just going to modify the exhaust that you can see that sort of comes out underneath the car there. So you've got chrome, ceramic, you've got some side pipes, angled headers. There's a lot of interesting things that you can do with the exhaust. You can also do some custom side pipes as well, which is what I think I ended up going for here. After that, you can modify the grille. As you can see there, you can go for a chrome grille, custom chrome, billet, lead sled, open grille. A lot of fun options right there. After that, we move on to the hood. So by default, when you get this vehicle, it's actually going to have the hood removed, but that's actually one of the upgrades for this car. You can actually revert that back to a stock option where the hood will be put back on, giving it that more traditional look. And then you can put a lot of intakes in there, like the dual filter blower, the large filter blower, the angled ram pipes. I mean, there's 18 different hood customization options here. There's a lot. Now, some of them are just no hood variants, but it does give you a lot of options to play around with. I decided to go for a more smooth hood look. This car also by default is topless, but you can choose to put a roof on there if you want. You can see you have a no roof option, primary, secondary, and stock. And there's also roll cages that you can put in there as well. Now, if you do put a roll cage in there, it will change the seats. You've got sports, performance, race, drag, and carbon seats. All of them require putting a roll cage inside of the vehicle, but I honestly prefer the bucket seat design. Now, once we've got our roof and our roll cage, we need to check out the liveries. So let's start with the first one, which is keep it simple. I actually really do like this one a lot. On the front, you have a LTD sponsorship with 348 cubic inches and then 223 AG on the back. So some pretty simple text and writing there. Overall, I really like that one. I also really like this next one. It's old school gasser. You can see it's got beakers, garage, and parts on the back, and then 427 AG written on the door. I think that looks awesome. I also really like this next one, Smoky Peyote. It has Smoky Peyote on the side, 348 cubes of Vapid, and then Kendall cranks on the front, and then Vapid written on the front of the hood too. So far, the first three liveries I'm a big fan of, and then you get the big Vapid text on the back. Now, after that, it is Flywheel Garage. I also like this one, too. On the side, you've got the Flywheel Garage sponsorship, obviously. You've got Flying Peyote written in yellow, Vapid Fuel Injection, And you've also got this like black stripe that goes on the hood and the roof and the trunk. After that, it is blacktop burner, which is your pretty traditional set of flames, as you guys can see there. Bright white in the front, sort of going to a yellowish red as they get further on. A little tough to see due to the paint job I have, but you guys get the idea. The next one is Flames of Freedom, which is very patriotic. So you guys can see there that is blue flames with white stars and then red and white stripes, sort of an American flag design right there. After that, it is Cocktail Kitty, which I will say is by far one of the weirdest liveries we've seen. I like the sponsorship of the Cocktail Kitty, but I can't say I like the rest as far as the pattern and all the other random sponsorships that are on this vehicle. So again, can't say I'm a big fan of that. After that, it is Junkyard Special, which is sort of this rusty patina look. I actually really like this one. It reminds me of keeping it simple, but with a sort of rusty junkyard look. So I like that one. If you were going for that super sort of been in the junkyard for a couple months design, there you go. The next one is really good too, Drag Predator. Although it looks like the design you would find on like a fighter jet, but as you guys can see there, it's the big shark teeth and again that rusty patina look. And last but not least, it is Valiant Vapid, which keeps that shark tooth design, but you've got this sort of red and steel checkerboard pattern on the front. In my personal opinion, I am a much bigger fan of the more simple livery designs, and since this is sort of like a gasser vehicle, I think I ended up going for like a rusty look on this car. So now that we've got our liveries decided, let's take a look at the primary and the secondary colors and see what they do. So the primary color is going to change pretty much the majority of the vehicle. The entire body of the car is affected by the primary color, and your secondary color really only affects the underside of the car. So as you guys can see there, sort of the supports towards the front, those are changed depending on what color you ultimately go for. And there is no effect on the inside of the car. None of that is changed by what you do with the primary or the secondary color. And then as far as those stock rims go, they actually can be changed in the iFruit app. So by default, they're this alloy color, obviously, as you can see right here. But of course, with the iFruit app, you can feel free to change it. So now that we've got this bad boy outside of the Los Santos custom shop, let's take a look at how all the doors and the trunks open. The hood on this vehicle is wild. Take a look at this. It's got such a crazy hinge. It's almost at like a 90-degree angle. And then, of course, the trunk and both driver and passenger side doors end up opening. Now, one other thing that I found to be pretty cool is this vehicle by default has sort of a custom license plate holder or license plate plaque. It has a peyote on the underside of it, which is kind of cool. That's actually something you cannot change. So it's sort of a nice little touch right there. And then as far as the headlights work on this vehicle, you've obviously got those two columns at the front. And then when you turn on the brights, they just simply get brighter. And the taillights, again, very simple as well. So nothing too special there. Now, once we got this vehicle out on the road, it certainly is interesting performance-wise. Obviously, I don't believe this vehicle is going to be competing with the likes of the most superior muscle cars in the game, like the Dominator GTX, but it is an interesting and fun vehicle to drive around. Obviously, because it's a muscle car, it has the ability to wheelie from sort of stop to start. But it's not the best control-wise. As you guys can see, the front end is sort of raised up a bit. And I don't know if Rockstar implemented this into the game to be just sort of a drag racing vehicle, because it did have decent top speed, but everything else about this car was just not all that great. It didn't brake well. It doesn't turn well. It doesn't handle well. It's clunky. It's hard to drive. So just know that if you are going to be buying this vehicle, you're not going to be getting a very usable muscle car, let's just say that, for really anything other than drag races that you might actually do on the airport runway. But overall, it's still a really fun and interesting and unique car, that's for sure. There's certainly really nothing like it in game, and there's almost endless possibilities of the certain variants that you can have when designing this vehicle. But anyways, that right there is 15 things you need to know about the Vapid Peyote Gasser muscle car before it arrives in Grand Theft Auto Online. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. When this vehicle does arrive in online, are you going to be buying it or are you going to be staying away from it? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And remember to subscribe if you guys are new or you want to stay up to date with all the latest GTA 5 casino news, info, videos, and more. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.